And now, Brandon Thick Boy Schaub.
But I'm not talking about Stranger Things. I'm not talking about the season 5 finale of the greatest show and biggest show of all time. It's the most watched show of all time, by the way. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua is happening this Friday. I repeat, Anthony Joshua, the heavyweight champion, the gold medal Olympian, is fighting your boy from the Disney Channel, from the YouTube, Jake Paul. That's real. That's more real. If you would have told me that Jake Paul, when he first started fighting, was going to end up fighting Anthony Joshua on Netflix, I would have told you Demogorgons are more realistic. That's the monster Netflix.
Oh, okay.
That's Stranger Things. Demogorgons are more realistic. I think that's how you pronounce it, Demogorgons.
Was it demagogues?
Demogorgons.
Demogorgons.
Bring it up. See if that's it. But the point is, if you would have told me those are real, I would believe that more than I would Jake Paul actually fighting Anthony Joshua. Here's my take on this. And I know it's a big one because I always judge it. This is a stupid way to judge things. But Demogorgon, yeah.
Gorgon.
Demogorgon. Sounds like a fucking Dagestanian wrestler or some shit I can't pronounce. They look like flowers with teeth, whatever. This is how I judge fights. So I get my coffee every morning from the same spot every morning. If there's a big fight, people will randomly come up to me and go, dude, whether it's Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, if it's a big UFC fight, you know, the dude, how about this? How about this? John Jones, Conor McGregor. When the dudes and the ladies at Summer Moon Coffee are like, bud, Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul, what's gonna happen? I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be a big one. This because it's hit the masses. When my mom or dad are texting like, is Jake Paul really fighting? I'm like, oh shit, it's on your radar? This is gonna be a big boy. Here's my thoughts. It's well documented. I love Jake Paul. He's such an entrepreneur, such a trailblazer. What he's done is absolutely insane. Even him and his brother Logan, the stuff they do is wild, and their work ethic is inspiring. And I know it might not seem like you guys don't see everything, but they are so brilliant and everything's so calculated, and everything that they touch turns into gold, and they're crushing it. But this is where this journey of Jake's is at a crossroad. This is where there's a fork in the road. Meaning, anybody who thinks that any fight previous to this, that the fights are fixed or pre-choreographed, any of that shit, I get the hate on them. You're so off on that. None of that is fake. The best example of that, you think Nate Diaz is down to lose to Jake Paul? You think your beloved Jake Diaz, the Stockton gangster, is going to succumb to money and agree to take a fall against Jake Paul? Or the great Woodley, the multiple-time world champion, welterweight UFC, is going to risk his legacy and take a fall? Or Ben Askren is going to let him knock him out fucking cold? Or Anderson Silva, the great Anderson Silva, is going to take a fall. You know how stupid that is? You know how uneducated opinion that is? Mike Tyson one we can talk about. That one's different. That was a glorified sparring match. That one's different. I'm not talking about that one. That one's different. When it comes to Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, and I'm not saying Jake is, but let's say even if he was God's gift to boxing, which he's not, but even if he was the most talented boxer to ever lace up a pair of gloves, he's been boxing for 4 years. Even if he was that guy, even if he was Anthony Joshua's size, he is not. But even if you take all that into account, where he's God's gift to boxing, he's the same size as Anthony Joshua, in the 4 years that he's been boxing, there are not enough hours in the day to make up the gap in experience and talent between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. So I leave you with this question. Jake's not God's gift of boxing. He's not the same size. In what world does Jake Paul, in any facet, even touch Anthony Joshua? And if this is a real fight, which I think it is, it will be the most watched Jake Paul fight because he will get knocked out. And the reason why I think finally that, not finally, shouldn't say finally, but the reason why finally that this kind of almost false sense of achievement will stop for Jake Paul is because for Anthony Joshua, you're talking about a real, has a history, has the pedigree, is a world-class boxer, heavyweight, gold medalist, multi-time world champion, heavyweight boxer. For Anthony Joshua, he can't risk having Jake Paul have any success. It would look atrocious for the boxing community. It would taint Anthony Joshua's legacy. Because Anthony Joshua could, before this fight, they're going to fight after this, and we'll get to that. But before this fight, let's say he finally fought Tyson Fury, and he knocked Tyson Fury out in 3 seconds. Huge overhand right, knocks him out. The whole world's talking about it. And then that was before this. And then on December 19th, this Friday, he wins a decision to Jake Paul, or he were to lose by split decision. That would do more damage to his career than anything he's ever achieved or not achieved. This would royally screw over Anthony Joshua's entire legacy if this fight's even close. That's why I do not think Anthony Joshua is going to mess around in any facet. It's not going to happen. Tyson Fury, he'll play your games. Yeah, I'll let the fight go on a little longer, give you guys a show. Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul, yeah, we'll move around. I'll let it go a little longer. Anthony Joshua's not older. He's not long in the tooth, right? He took this fight on short notice, right? Gervonta Davis was the original opponent. So one thing you got to take into account, too, why I think this is going to be an absolute ass whooping for Jake Paul is because Anthony Joshua was not the first choice for multiple reasons. Gervonta Davis was. That one's a little, you're like, oh, he's really small. Jake Paul's a lot bigger. He probably could eat some of those shots. If he does land one, that's going to be trouble because Gervonta, I've worked with him. He's so fucking small. So that one's a little different. And that was the original plan on Netflix. So Gervonta Davis does what Gervonta Davis does and royally fucks things up, and it's self-sabotage, and he's hitting women and doing his thing, right? So he gets yanked off the Netflix card. So now they're racing to find a replacement. They offered to Francis, he said no. They've offered to Ryan Garcia, he says no. And then probably the third big fish, the worst possible matchup in the entire world. Anthony Joshua goes, fuck it, I'll do it. And then Jake gets a call and they go, hey, we got one. Oh yeah, it's a big fish. Oh really? Yeah, a big goldfish. Actually, he has some Olympic gold medals around his neck. He's from across the pond. And I bet Jake went, fuck. But remember, there's a lot of pressure on Jake to continue to make this fight happen, especially around this time frame. So they forced his hand. So this is where kind of things come to an end.